Hey guys, All Sports 83. I'm back with another discussion video about the upcoming NASCAR 21 Ignition. I did a video on this yesterday, and I would encourage you to go check that video out because a lot of what I'm going to say in this video kind of grew from that video yesterday, and really the thing that kind of started my thought process behind this video is one of the comments that was put in the comment section from yesterday's video. I was talking in that video about just concerns that I have about us as a NASCAR gaming community and how we engage motorsport games, and specifically YouTube content creators and the power they have to steer people toward or steer people away from the NASCAR games, even now and into the future. And that there's a lot more power with these YouTube content creators, maybe ever before. And I got a comment in the comment section that really kind of caused me to kind of stop and think. It was really thought-provoking, really smart, wise comment, I thought. And really, the question that the commenter was asking was, do we reward bad behavior? Do we continue to buy these games regardless of their quality? And his answer to that question was no. And so that's kind of the subject of today's video. And it just created a lot of thoughts in my brain about that, because thinking back on what I was saying in that video, I certainly can see how it could be interpreted as I want to blindly support motorsport games and I just could always buy their games. And I'm not so sure that's exactly what I was saying. First of all, he respectfully disagreed with my thoughts about content creators telling viewers not to pre-order the game or to cancel their pre-orders. Now, I don't want to get too much into the weeds about what I said, but I actually was more in support of holding off on pre-ordering, or maybe possibly even canceling a pre-order. I don't think that came up in my discussion. And I think part of that came from when I was talking about how I had heard David Land, a YouTube content creator, say in a video that he was advising his viewers to hold off on pre-ordering until they get more information. And I actually agreed with that comment. And so I didn't hear any content creator say just flat out don't buy the game. Now look, at the end of the day, content creators can say whatever they want, and they can make whatever recommendations they want. I mean, nobody's really going to listen to a small voice like mine. But really, I appreciated the comment that kind of forced me to think about what it is I was trying to say. After reading the comment, I certainly spent some time this morning kind of gathering my thoughts and really trying to consider what my position is on this and what am I trying to articulate. So in that way, the comment section is really doing its job, which is a good thing. So thank you for participating, and thank you to the commenter who made that comment and kind of forced me to pause and say, whoa, let me make sure I'm wrapping my head around what I'm saying and thinking, and let me consider these other things. And so I think that's a good thing. So that's exactly what I wanted when I threw that video out there. So that's really cool. So basically, what is the answer? Should we buy NASCAR 21 Ignition? Do we fork out $60 or $90 for a game that we know is pretty far from what we want? Honestly, I think I'm going to stand by what I was saying yesterday. And I think what I was saying was, I think content creators, or at least in my position, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everything I can to say the truth. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give my opinion about the game. Certainly when I get my hands on it, I'll be able to do that a little better. And then I'm just going to leave it to anyone who's out there watching my content. Everybody needs to make that decision for themselves. And I think that's what I'm hearing from all of the other content creators out there while they're giving honest, real, straightforward opinions about the game. And I think that's a good thing as well. So based on that, here is my more immediate approach. And you're welcome to adopt this concept or, fly by the seat of your pants, or maybe you've already made a decision about what you're going to do with this game or the next game or whatever. But here's what I'm going to do with my money, at least in the foreseeable future. I've already pre-ordered the game. I said that in yesterday's video. And I don't regret that decision, at least not yet. So, for now, I'm going to operate on the faith that the developers at Motorsport Games are going to work really hard to get NASCAR 21 Ignition playable as soon as possible. No, it should not be this way. I get it. We shouldn't have to hope that a game gets finished after we purchase them. I get that. In fact, I've said in previous videos, I'm not a big fan of the way game development happens, and the way they've happened really for the last 10 or 15 years, where developers know they can release kind of an unfinished game and then just send updates later. I'm not even a fan of the downloadable content thing. I mean, I'm used to the days where when you bought a game, that was your game. And it came with all of the goodies that was ever going to go in that game. I feel that downloadable content is kind of a money grab. But at the same time, there is some positives. When there are glitches and there are things that aren't good about a game, the developers do have the technology and the resources to send updates that can make the game better. I don't want developers to use it as an excuse to deliver subpar games, but I do like the idea of that technology existing because, quite frankly, even though I talk about the heyday of video games and you'd get the whole game, sometimes you'd get a game that was broken and that was it. That's what you were going to get. And if it was broken and it had bad glitches and it didn't function very well, that's what you had until if or when they came out with another game, like a sequel or an addition or another year. So essentially, best case scenario, you were waiting for a year to get another game so that you could skip out on the issues that you've been dealing with. So there is some positives to that. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing a little bit with that conversation. But essentially, I'm going to buy the game. I've already pre-ordered it. But I'm going to use my approach to do two things, I hope. I'm thinking about this out loud. I want to support Motorsport Games, but I also want to, moving forward, hold them accountable. So the only way I feel that we can do that as consumers is with our wallets. So yes, they're kind of a startup. They're kind of starting from scratch, and I know we've heard that several times in the last few years. But it is what it is. They've started from scratch. We can't go back in time and change that. So let's support them. That's my feeling. You do what you want. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to support them. I've got their game. Downloadable content. I'm going to go for it to try to help them kind of get off their feet a little bit. Hopefully they can fix the game. I'm going to be paying attention to that this year. How many updates? How many patches? How much can they get this game closer to where it really should have been all along? And then we're going to see what happens after that. If we experience a lot of the same things next year, maybe I don't worry about the downloadable content the second time around. Maybe I don't worry about the Champions Edition the second or third time around. They're going to see less of my money if I don't see improvements. That's kind of my approach, because I want to help them. I want to be on their team in a sense. As a consumer, you're kind of on their team in a sense. And I want to be that, and I want them to do well, and I want them to excel, and I even want them to profit. I mean, that's kind of why you get into business. But in order to profit and generate revenue, you have to be providing an acceptable service to the consumer. And they know that. And so the problem that you get in these types of exchanges is like the Madden series. I don't know if anybody who's watching this plays any of the Madden games or ever has, but that's the cautionary tale. Because essentially what happens is EA Sports produces a game that's technically a rinse and repeat or a copy and paste version of the previous year's Madden game. And the Madden gaming community, they are up in arms every single year. Go YouTube it. There's a ton of YouTube channels and YouTube videos about the frustrations of the Madden series. The problem is they don't speak with their money. They just complain. And I get that, but eventually you have to make these companies pay for their mistakes in a sense. So EA Sports is raking in millions of dollars every year for a game they don't really have to put a lot of research and development into. They don't have to put a whole lot of work into it. They'll just do a little polish here, maybe a little patch there, create some semi-new feature. You might see one or two new, fresh things about the game, but it's technically the same game. I own Madden 20. Before that, I had Madden 16, and I can tell very little difference between them. I have not purchased Madden 21. I have not purchased Madden 22. I don't intend to purchase those because there's not much different. I can actually throw in Madden 16, and it's such a similar experience to Madden 20. It doesn't really feel much different. And so I don't want NASCAR gaming to go down that road. I'll tell you, I actually think that the Madden situation is a much worse situation than ours in the NASCAR gaming community, because at least the developers at Motorsport Games understand the situation they're in. I saw a video today, I can't remember which YouTuber it was, but they had said that they were in communication with Motorsport Games and they realize the issues with the game. Well, you never hear the Madden people say that. You never hear EA Sports say, yeah, we know there's a bunch of issues with the game, we're working on it. That doesn't happen. So at least there's some back and forth between the developer. But like I said, at the end of the day, if it keeps going down this road, if we don't see the improvement, we're going to have to do more than just make YouTube videos, because that's not working out very well for the Madden gaming community. So I want us to keep that in mind. But right now, I believe we're still in that phase of let's do everything we can, everything that we feel comfortable with doing to support Motorsport Games and try to, again, be a resource for them, try to keep the dialogue open, and see if we can't help them make these games better. Say what you want about the NASCAR Heat franchise, but those games did get continually better, and that's a good thing. They didn't quite get where we wanted them to be, but they did get better. So anyway, those are my thoughts about that, and all that kind of spawned from a comment, which was great. So thank you guys for the comments. Thanks for taking part. And I think I might have one more video in me before the release of the game, and I'm certainly going to do some releasing of stuff when I get my hands on the game. So stay tuned for the next couple days. I'm going to try to throw one more out. I got some other thoughts I want to get to, but until then, hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a good one.